Everyday Heroes. Now on Kickstarter.
Hello, minions. Welcome to another episode of Designers Discussion. I am, as you know, your host, Noir, he, they, and today we have a very special guest with us. We have Bora. Bora, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with for Evil Genius?
Hi everyone, I am a layout designer for Evil Genius. I am currently designing all the books for Everyday Heroes, but sometimes I do a kind of jack of all trades kind of thing on the side.
We've told everybody we're a small team making it happen, so everybody has kind of reached outside their original tool sets on this one. So it's good to hear that tradition continues. I'm very curious. How long have you been doing layout design, and is this your first major project, or what other projects have you worked on that you could tell us about?
Well, I've been doing layout design for like years. I've worked with many small projects that included poetry books, illustration books. There's also one project that I never talk about because it's like, a dark horse, like the black sheep of my projects. So I will not be talking about that one.
It's in the forbidden section of the resume. No, I
Yeah.
respect. Oh, that's awesome. So, like, how did you end up coming across Everyday Heroes?
Well, Dave made this post in a freelancing platform,
Hmm.
and I thought, whoa, that's cool. An opportunity to work on a TTRPG. So I sent him a proposal, and we kind of interviewed, and he hired me, basically. That's how it went.
That's also, this is your first TTRPG project.
For books, yes, this is my first TTRPG project.
So, but I mean, your excitement over a chance to be a TTRPG kind of shows me like you might be. Are you a fan of the hobby? Do you partake in TTRPGs yourself?
I'm a full-fledged nerd. Not only do I partake in TTRPGs, but I also do LARP. So I'm too deep, too deep in this.
As soon as you said LARP, I'm like, oh, your poor pockets. Like that is like,
It's
that's
okay. I
so
make my own
expensive.
stuff.
Oh, you're gonna have.
Slightly less
I'm gonna beg you
expensive.
to teach me because I buy everything and it's killing my wallet.
Oof.
So how did you get into TTRPGs? What's your story there?
Well, this is kind of a foolish story. I was like 18 and I really liked this guy in my university.
Hmm.
So I tried to get like close to that group, and like this other guy tells me about D&D, and I was like, I know what that is, but I've never played it. So he invited me to a session and I loved it. And ever since then, here I am.
So did things work out with the crush? If you don't mind my asking,
Oh no, no, not at all.
at least you got something out of it. You got you got TTRPG out of it.
To be honest, once I got into TTRPG, I forgot about the crush. But anyway,
Oh, so what can you tell us about your first character? Because I have to ask.
oh, he was a half-orc barbarian,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
chaotic evil, uh, real big asshole, and uh, he couldn't hit for shit. Like uh, 5 rounds in a row, I remember I rolled below 10, and I
uh,
kind of broke my weapon at some point. It was hilarious.
I feel for you. The dice hate me as well.
Depends on the character, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, depends on the character. Some characters, they love them. Like I play this bard right now, and I don't know what it is about bards, but dice seem to love them. Every time I play bard,
See, I don't play enough bars. I play a lot of paladins and barbarians.
I'm also playing a paladin.
Hey, they're the best class. But I have. So I mean, once you had your interviews with Dave,
Mhm.
what was it about Everyday Heroes that you were like, okay, yeah, let's get in on this?
Well, I kind of like the fact that it takes place in the modern era. I'm a big fan of the World of Darkness series,
Yeah.
but sometimes it gets too dark, and not every day is that kind of day, and Everyday Heroes is more like lighthearted in that sense.
Yeah. I mean, you really do have a control over the tone of this, which has been pretty cool. Have you been involved in any of the playtests? Have you had a chance to
Uh,
to get behind the wheel of this thing?
yeah, yeah. I actually played Escape of New York with Muerta as
Oh
DM.
yeah. That's a fun
Uh,
one.
it's a fun one. It kind of lasts a bit too. It's a bit too short for me. Like I like my sessions long, but it's a great one.
It's real nice to get a taste of it, but I mean, it does leave me wanting like a full on campaign for sure. Do you
Yeah,
do you remember what you played in your Escape from New York game?
I played. I think Delta. Yeah, I think I played Delta.
Hey, me too.
Hey,
Hackers for life. Um, so
and I spammed the "you're doing it wrong" skill. Like I love that skill.
it's, I mean, because you get to roast somebody and help them at the same time. It's literally the best
Uh,
skill.
I also like the naming sense of the feats. Like when I was editing some of them and
Mhm.
writing them in my software and stuff, like I would read the titles and I was having a blast.
Is there any titles in particular that you enjoy that you can share
Not in
with
the
us?
face for the charismatic hero. Like it's so perfect.
The one that I like is and there was a lot of discussion about this, which was I think it's like read the effing manual. I think we changed it to freaking manual, but for some time there it was like read the fucking manual. Uh we were still trying to figure out how family friendly we want this game to be, I guess. It's what we're confessing to everyone here. Um, so what challenges have you had in doing the layout for your first TTRPG?
Well, finding the right aesthetic. Like, I mean, that's always the biggest challenge when doing
Yeah.
the layout. It's the aesthetic. And I've had a lot of trials with that.
So I mean, how do you find the right aesthetic for something like this? Because the whole appeal of Everyday Heroes is that one person can play it as like a Law and Order type game, and then the other person can play it like Rambo. So how do you find that sweet spot in the middle?
What I did is like I watched around 20 to 25 movies. Uh, uh, that some of them were the ones that we are working on the cinematic adventures,
Hmm.
and some other ones were like the classics. And I watched all of those, and then I looked for inspiration, and then I talked to Dave for hours and hours and hours, and finally, finally, we found something. But it was a long journey. Like it takes time to find the right aesthetic.
I mean, the commitment of watching all those type of movies. Like, were those movies that you'd seen before, or is actually like, what are your favorite genres of movies? I suppose is the better question.
That's not a really good question for me because I don't really watch stuff depending on the genre so much,
Hmm.
but more like if it's good or not. Like I can watch anything as long as it's good, and that's so arbitrary.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to gauge because what's good for one person might be trash to somebody else.
I mean, yeah, like I love Blade Runner. That's like one of my favorite movies. And I remember watching it with like a group of friends, and everybody was fucking bored. Like they were sleeping halfway through.
I have a confession to make. I've never seen the original Blade Runner. I've only seen the sequel.
Well, man, you should. Like,
I
it's
know,
a
I
beautiful,
know.
it's a beautiful movie.
I, all I know about the original Blade Runner is the monologue at the end, which is beautiful, and I'm like, I really need to watch that movie, and I just never get around to.
Well, we all have those kinds of movies that we never get around to watching.
Can you give us a few of the movies that you watched in preparation for Everyday Heroes?
Oh, well, all of the cinematic adventures.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously watched Braveheart. Dave's favorite action movie. What was it?
Oh goodness, Dave's
The
favorite.
Christmas one.
Oh, Die Hard.
Die Hard. Yeah, all of them.
You watched I'm so sorry. I am so
I like
sorry.
them. The first one, at least.
There you go. There it is. The first one is brilliant. The third one is
Uh,
amazing. The second one,
I think I watched some titles with Schwarzenegger and all of the Rambo stuff. That's what I can remember from the top of my head.
Did you watch Universal Soldier?
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that. What did you think?
it was cute.
But I think you might be the only person to review that movie as cute, and I'm here for it.
I mean, the thing that was going on between two main characters was kind of cute. Let's be honest.
I mean that's fair. That's fair. I've only seen the second half of Universal Soldier. I'm gonna get killed in the comments. All right, so I mean, out of all the things that you've watched, which ones do you find were most inspirational, in terms of taking away pieces from their aesthetic? We asked the hard hitting questions here.
Yeah, I get Rambo.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'm not a big fan of the series, it has its own aesthetic.
Yeah.
And like the way I watch them is like after I finish the movie, I like, scroll forward and backward very fast to check, some screens, so some directing choices, like the photography choices. And like they did a really good job. Like I have to give it to them.
I mean, the
That's
sound
why.
design, the cinematography, you know Rambo when you see Rambo. We have to give him that.
Yeah.
I mean, just the yelling alone, "Ooh," like it's great.
I wasn't paying so much attention to the sound, to be honest.
I'm an audio nerd. I can't help it. I have to ask. We have a bunch of cinematic adventures coming out that everybody knows about: Highlander, The Crow, and all that.
Hmm?
Are there any films that you like? Well, what films would you like to see Everyday Heroes take on?
I mean, let's be honest, I am so excited about The Crow.
Oh,
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious, like the golfness in me is showing. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. But I never used it as a reference to the aesthetic because it's not really exactly into the rest of the everyday hero style. But I'm really excited about that. And I would also like to see, obviously, Blade Runner and the Minority Report. I don't know if you have seen that one.
Ooh, I love the Minority Report.
Yeah, I really
A
love
lot
that
of
movie.
eye stuff, which I cringe at, but I love Minority Report.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of movies I would like to see.
Oh, I mean that's a really good choice. Now that I think about it, I don't think I'll have to go through the comments, but I don't think I've seen Minority Report suggested too much. So that's pretty awesome.
So I was very surprised actually by that movie. I wasn't expecting it to be so good.
Yeah, I like to give Tom Cruise crap whenever I can, but he puts out good stuff. So, will you also be doing work on the cinematic adventures?
Yeah, I've already done like Escape of New York
That's
from
and
yeah.
it looks real good too. It looks real good.
Oh, thank you.
So, I mean, is it quite the jump going from doing the work in the core rulebook to then having to do the layout for each cinematic adventure? And are your styles changing with each one that you do?
Well, I do kind of have to reprogram my brain every time I change from one to another, but it's good. It's good that this happens because it helps me refresh. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking about myself like I'm some kind of software right now.
I mean, but no, that's awesome. I mean, because with each cinematic adventure, or just from the ones that I've seen, I should say, you do a very good job of replicating the style of the original source material while still staying true to everyday heroes. And I'm just wondering about the process of that. Like, how do you still very clearly show that this is Escape from New York, but also make sure that the fact that it's an everyday heroes project isn't lost.
Well, years of studying semiology have helped me do that. The thing about this movie is that they have their own established aesthetic.
Hmm.
So all you really have to do is try to replicate that, but also add like a touch of your own in the spaces where it's allowed to do that, like the fonts, for example, or the way you are going to present certain texts, like the call out boxes, or the way you're going to introduce the images. Like those are the things that you can include the everyday hero style, and then everything else can have the aesthetic of the original work.
So, were there any ideas that you had that you really liked that unfortunately couldn't make it to the book, or anything that you really wanted to try that unfortunately had to get cut?
Like 99% of the stuff. Sadly, this is how graphic design works. Like 99% of the stuff is trash at the end. Like you have to scrap it.
Oh, that hurts.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
My partner's a graphic designer, and they're also working on a book. So I'm hearing about it. Like, I didn't realize how tedious character sheet creation could be.
Oh, that's the worst. Uh, I'm still working on that actually, and it's a nightmare, but it's fun.
I've got to ask, what makes character sheets so difficult?
Because they have to implement a lot of things, like you need to take care of the aesthetic, you need to keep in mind the UX design, because for some kind of reason it's very, very, very important for the sheet to have a good user experience, and you have to keep in mind the user flow and all of that stuff which you usually apply to websites. You have to apply it on the sheet that's made for yeah, my accent there, that's made for gaming. So uh, it's uh, it's complicated.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing secondhand about there not being enough real estate for all the information that you have to give to the users.
That's also one of the things. Sadly, I think we will have to increase the pages. Like I was trying to make it compact, like
Hmm.
into 2 pages, but I think that's kind of impossible.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that each character has, in terms of plans, equipment, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's. Ooh, I'm glad I don't have to do that. That's rough. So- Sorry it had to be you, but I'm sure you'll knock it out of the park.
I'm doing my best.
So, is there anything in particular that if that you would like gamers or people who are playing everyday heroes to kind of take a second and appreciate? Like, if you could go, hey, look, I did that. Like, what's the one thing you would want to point out to everybody who's gonna get their hands on this?
I guess the little details that go into every page to make it its own thing,
Hmm.
because like around 85% of the pages all have something that differentiates them from the layout of the rest of the other ones, and it's like those little things, the little touches. I guess that's what I would like people to notice a bit more.
Yeah, so I mean, so I'm very glad that we are doing this this series so that when people get their hands on the book and they go, "Ooh, this is gorgeous," they know who to thank for that. Because I can tell you, me and the other designers that we talk to, we have no idea how to make this stuff look good. So thank you so much for doing that.
Well, wait, it's not just me, of course. It's
Of
also the
course.
illustrators.
Right, and the plan is to have Inez on the show as well, so we can definitely take some time to show some love to the artists, because I truly believe graphic designers and artists are the entire heart and soul of what we do here. I mean, if not, we would just be looking at a lot of Word documents in Rolling Stones. So what you do is very appreciated. I have to ask, what was the first challenge that you tackled when you signed on for the job? Like, what was the first thing you did for Everyday Heroes?
The character page for Brute. That was the first thing. Because like Dave wanted to see how I would tackle it.
Hmm.
And he gave me that one as a test for my skills and stuff. And that was the first challenge.
Matt gets a lot of love, but I've seen that page, and it's real good.
Well, it has changed since then.
Oh, so maybe I haven't seen it yet,
Well, I don't know.
which is upsetting. I want to see all the latest stuff. Dang it!
Well, if you've seen the quick start guide, you should have seen it.
Oh, then yeah, then I have seen it.
Then you have.
And that means most of the people watching this have seen it as well. So they're familiar with your work. See,
Great.
I'm sure the comments will be nothing but kind to us both.
I hope so.
I just guaranteed at least one negative comment.
I can deal with one.
You're better than me. One will have me in tears. So what is your favorite character class? I mean, since you've worked on all of them, like, which one do you look forward to playing when you get this at your table?
Icon, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The icon.
Yeah, the icon.
The icon is like the ultimate charismatic character. It's disgusting how much fun it is playing the icon.
It's as much fun as playing the bard, I guess.
I mean, really, it truly is like playing a bard on steroids. Me personally,
Yeah.
though, I am a fan of the brute. I like just throwing things, breaking stuff over people's heads. I'm a simple guy. Oh.
I can say that.
Thank you and ouch. No, I'm kidding.
No, I didn't mean it in a bad way.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. So, I think we're getting close to our 30 minutes here. So I guess, uh, I would like to have you have the last word. What's one thing that you would like to impart on everybody who's either going to jump into Everyday Heroes, or people that are just thinking about it?
Can you actually repeat the beginning of the sentence?
Oh, absolutely. So we're getting close to our 30 minutes for our interview today. So I just wanted to know, what would you like to say to all of our backers, or people who are considering backing, or anybody at all that's going to play Everyday Heroes?
I guess, first of all, thank you for backing this project. And I really, really, really hope you enjoy the layouts, the aesthetics, the illustrations, the work that has been put into it. And we would always appreciate more feedback.
Absolutely. We do greatly appreciate constructive criticism.
Constructive.
I had one
Keyword.
dude. I had one dude just roast me about my shirt for like a paragraph. We appreciate constructive criticism, and we do listen to it, and we do apply it to the project. So absolutely, thank you so much, Bora, for joining us today. Thank you for all the work that you're doing on the core book and all of the cinematic adventures. I know you've got your hands full, so God bless. And thank you again, most importantly, for taking the time to have a conversation with me and all of the little minions here who are watching.
Thank you too for having me.
So with that, we're going to leave all of you for today. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you later. See you next Friday.
Oh, great. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.